We needed it today, that's for sure.
Yeah. We are officially live, so hello everyone. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday, everyone.
Hey.
Monday.
Hey. Yeah, I'm all snuggled up outside. I got my blanket. I got my
Oh wow, what's a chilly morning? Morning, I take my walk every morning. It was 65, I think. And last week we were sweating at 6:30 in the morning. I mean, it was just too hot. It was a really nice morning.
It's all over the place. And for those of you who've ever watched us before, you may see a new face. We have John Kennedy with us.
Yes,
hey, everybody.
Yeah. So he is a certified financial planner and our guest for the second time on the show for tomorrow's show.
That's right.
In addition, is also going to be our new co-host.
Hey.
Welcome, Mr. John.
Thanks everybody for having me. I'm excited to be a part of it.
Yes, we have our money man, our money mindset man.
That's right.
That's right.
Yes.
I like how you said money mindset, because I feel like that's an important component, because finances can be a boring topic. We try to make it fun. So
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Anything in life can be fun.
Absolutely.
And everything's in your mind. So
yes.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
Sad note, we are going to be losing, at least for now, Jessica Derle. Yeah.
Yep. But I know, but so excited that John is going to be taking my place because as Karin said, John has been a guest on our show. When you hear his interview tomorrow, he'll have joined us twice. Had a wonderful reception the first time, so it just brings a wonderful energy and a different, a nice look and feel to a category that I think we really, especially these days, is high on everybody's mind. To say that finances is something we're pushing to the back of our head is couldn't be farther from the truth. So I think that as the show goes forward and John sort of in real time, in real world situations as we get through this, can help you keep the stress maybe as far as that's concerned at a minimum, and really just help you think a little more smartly as you go ahead. It's going to be a huge benefit for everyone. So, you have, Karin with the mind, Aida with the body, and now the finances. We've got the whole shift happening here.
It brings it all together. Well, we're going to, like we talked about for the show that's going to air tomorrow, but the idea that it's focusing on things you can control versus things you can't control. And I think that's what's so important. So it's going to be fun. You're going to see that's kind of like an ongoing theme of mine.
Yes.
But yeah, Jessica, we're sad to see you go.
Yeah, thanks. Me too. I am too. But I'm excited to continue to watch the show and continue to learn from everything that we always share. So that's going to be awesome. And very excited.
Mr. John, welcome very much. We are happy that you're here and that you're going to be talking about finances. And for those that are listening to our show and are saying, well, this is a health and wellness show. Why are they talking about money? Listen, do you know that money causes a lot of stress? Do you know that stress causes disease, resist cortisol, raise your oxidative stress, raise your high blood pressure, raise your sugar, and keep you under control with your health? So if you want to become, make shift happen when it comes to your health, you really need to know control your finances, because your finances are going to buy your healthy food. Your finances are going to buy your supplements. Your finances are going to buy your counselor and your coach. Okay. Your finances are going to buy your medicines and your doctor's visit if you need it. So you really need to know about your finances. So Mr. John, I am so happy that you're here because I might need some of those tips.
Well, no, thank you so much. It's so true. I think having a good grip on your finances really can bring a sense of empowerment and peace to your life. I mean, it's just a lot of times when we talk with people, whether they're clients or not, I mean, as you can imagine, like I talk to people about finances all the time. It's my profession. It's what I do. It's what I love. And so often I'll have a conversation and someone will tell me how stressed they are about everything going on in the world right now, the coronavirus, all that, and the ripple effect that it's having, not only financially, but then throughout the rest of their, throughout their life and how they're dealing with that emotion. So it's really important to have that conversation, maybe see like, oh, well, that's good perspective. Maybe things aren't as bad, or at least now I know how I can plan and prepare, and I can pour my energy into the things I can control. Man, that's such an empowering feeling. It's just, it's incredible.
You know how many marriages break because of issues of money?
Yeah.
Let me tell you, money comes in every area when it comes to your health, in your relationships, in your physical health, in your spiritual health. Money is there in everything that you have to do. You know, I don't mean that people have to love money, but money is a resource that we really need in order for us to be happy. We need the money to buy the things and pay the bills, and even to make relationships. Sometimes you need money to be able to go to the networking events and do certain different things. So
yeah, it's so true. And it's not that we want to be money centric as much as it's, you know, money is a tool, it's a vehicle to allow us to do the things in life that we want to do and accomplish. And so we talk to people all the time, this idea that literally every decision you make actually has some level of a financial implication, some really minor and you don't even think twice about it, and some are major and you overanalyze it. And kind of bringing that all together and having discussions around that stuff, and that there's nothing too big or too small to be talking about financially. Most people are always surprised by that, because when they think CFP or financial planner, they're like, oh, well, cool, that's the stock and bond person. That's important, but that's only one element of it. There's so many things that are impacted by money.
Yeah. And, you know, and one of the things that it's funny because it was like you were in my head when you said money is a tool, because, you know, it really is. And I also want to say that it really is a tool, but, you know, I also want to say that, that I like to, when we can switch our focus to abundance rather than scarcity, that's the other part. That's part of the mindset. You know, thinking scarcity, there's going to be no jobs, there's going to be that and the other. Then again, we slip further and further into that fear sense, which, as you know, I was mentioning, that just slips us right into poor health and all that other stuff. Now, when we switch over to abundance, then it just feels better. And when you step a little bit outside of that survival mechanism, you can actually think better. You can be more creative. You can think outside the box. Not do when you're in survival mode. You're just tunnel right there. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. You know, we talk about the scarcity mindset a lot, and that whether as a business owner or as, you know, in your own life, I mean, that weaves its way into so many decisions you make. And when you're looking at it from that point of view, it's just such a reactionary way to be. And it's scary to like constantly, like I feel like there's always constant pressure to be living that way, like with that scarcity mindset.
Yeah. And I think the whole idea of planning that goes, there's an overlay on all parts of life. Because one of the things that it's one thing that I have not been really good at, a little bit more, you know, hey, you know, like we were talking the other day, living on the edge here, you know, we got the opposite of Jessica. And you know, so as I am learning to change that part of myself, because I'm constantly a work in progress, I'm always doing things to make myself better and grow and such. I'm actually looking at, you know, creating content over a month, and as well, I have always, you know, it makes sense, but the fact of actually making yourself sit down and do that, and it's the same thing goes for your money in other ways. So this whole idea of seeing it, planning it, you know, having something at that step by step that you follow is really.
I agree. I think planning is so important, and I'm gonna kind of butcher this thought, but my business partner and I were reading about this last week, and it kind of has, like, plans are made to be broken, basically. Like you create a plan or a destination, and from our standpoint, it's about our business, it's about our company. We're talking about, okay, well, what does this look like in 10 years? And we're like, gosh, 10 years from now, like, why do we even need to be planning that far in advance for this business? And it's because thinking that far out, we might never achieve whatever that, like, as we define it today, what that looks like. But in 10 years from now, I'm sure we'll be content and happy with what we've built. But it allows you to determine the steps you're supposed to be making today and tomorrow. Like, how can you know what direction to move in if you don't have a plan in the future, whether that's a year, 5 years, 10 years, or whatever. And it's such an important concept. And it's funny because we're financial planners and we talk to people about all that all the time on the financial side, and we're thinking about our business and we're like, well, yeah, we need to be doing that for the next 10 years for a company too. And no matter what we define it, it doesn't matter what it ends up looking like in 10 years. It's just the evolution and the progress of getting to that point and the attempt of achieving that. I feel like plans are it's just so critical, to your point.
Yeah.
A plan also will change your mindset a little bit, because then now you're planning, you have some, especially when it comes to your finances. My mindset was that I had a scarcity mindset, and I was stingy because I was a single mother for 12 years. So I made that dollar, rebound and bounce back as much as I could. I was very, very, very stingy. My husband had to move me out of that mentality, so we can move forward. But oh my God, I was so stingy. And that's not really good either.
No.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And so, that's a perfect point that you make, Ida, about how what our life circumstances provide us and with choices, but also, and I'm thinking also about, in childhood where our foundation is created. Because I grew up with my mom, but even though she ended up being a single mom because my dad died when I was 5, we had Social Security. My mother was legally blind, so she was like clueless about, more having to do all these kinds of things and never ever talked about money. Oh my God, no, we don't talk about money. And it's expensive, so it's all these little messages that you get that are then embedded, and then you subconsciously operate from those places.
Yeah. It's funny because you're so right. And you hear a lot of people talk about if you come from a place of fear, you don't open yourself up for abundance. So you sort of never get there. But if you come from the other side and believe you're worthy and it's going to happen, and suddenly your stress goes down, your fear goes down. It's amazing how things come to you like we just have been saying all day so far, because of your mindset. I mean, if you're cut off, like Aida was saying about worry, you don't see the opportunities and the possibilities. But when you come from, it's going to happen, I see it, I know it, and the affirmation, suddenly before you know it, it's a whole different world.
Yeah.
I love
that. Yes.
So
remember
and
going
sometimes
back.
we have to remind ourselves. I mean, especially these days when you're sort of cooped up, I've been affirming more than ever.
and look what you made happen, manifest it.
And for my personal, I'm very excited about this. Is what I'm doing. As much as I'm going to miss everything, is exactly what I want. And it brings abundance, and it brings all the things that I love and I enjoy doing. I mean, I'm very excited about that. But, there was a time, and because of, the oppression that I sort of feel because of our situation, even though I am getting out, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't not have this happen because I'm not going to let it happen. I have to let it happen. So, it's all about our mind.
Yeah. And talk about, how mindset shifts and pushing against your boundaries, that your self-imposed boundaries. They're self-imposed. Oh my God. I remember when I first moved from working for an agency to private practice and having to say what my then fee was, I could almost not get it out of my mouth. I was stuttering, and what am I admitting to the person who was looking at hiring me? I was like, oh, I don't think I want to talk to her. And I could barely get the number out, and so now I just say it, and but that took a while.
No, that's great.
That the worthiness, right?
I was going to say, you need to know your worth.
Absolutely. Do you guys feel like that happens in like segments or building blocks? Like that's something to always be working towards, right? It's not something that you can just wake up one day and be like, all right, epiphany, I'm gonna tackle this. It's probably a slow progression.
Yeah, you have to, And this is the thing, you have to push yourself to do the things that you're scared of, especially if, and this is again where that plan comes in, John. What is it that you're passionate about? Like Jessica, you talk about you're so passionate, you love what it is you're getting ready to do. And so that requires certain steps to get there, and those first steps to get there, they might not feel comfortable. That means that you have to push yourself and be uncomfortable while you're doing the thing to get you where you want to be. But every time you stretch it, I use the analogy of a rubber band, and the rubber band might be like this at first, and then you stretch it. Once you stretch it enough, it doesn't go back to its original, size. Now it's a little bit wider, and that's how we are also with how we push and push those things that used to scare us. It's like no big deal now, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I can kind of remember early in life, like as an adult, thinking, doing things that were uncomfortable. Like the human tendency is to avoid that.
Yep.
And I don't know, maybe at some point in the last few years, I kind of realized like, no, that's actually the thing that I need to lean into. If it's making me feel uncomfortable, that's probably a good sign in terms of like my own personal development and personal growth. That could be like public speaking is such a good example for me. It's like, I enjoy it once I'm doing it, but I could remember a time where that would get me really nervous. I mean, I'd be broken out in hives, my face would be all red. And even now, you get the butterflies when you go do something like that. But getting comfortable with being uncomfortable is probably a good philosophy, and also something to work and build towards.
Yeah, totally agree.
It's like another muscle, it's just an actual muscle. It's a muscle in your brain. You're building new connections. So wire together, right, Ida?
Yes. I was trying to mute them with no noise here in my house. I'm sorry.
The puppies.
What's going on? Everything.
She's got all kinds of stuff going on. The woman is on fire.
Technology, puppies.
I know. It's like they know what time I'm doing my videos or something that everybody call, everybody has to go in and out of the house. The dogs need to come out. Like, I think I would have to rent a place just.
It's funny. That is really funny.
Yeah, that's what life is all about.
There are lots of open hotels on right now, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Price on a 30-minute stay.
Yeah, but people don't concentrate in the lack of this season, okay? Concentrate on what can you do. You know that crisis give birth to innovation and creativity? So this is the time that you have to think of what it is lacking right now in these moments, and what can I do with my talents to come up with something new and innovating for this season, instead of just, oh my God, I'm not going to have a job. Oh my God. Maybe that's exactly what you needed to move into what, God or the universe wanted for you to do in your life. So not concentrate so much into the lack and what's not happening,
That is a really good point. Like taking this whole thing as an opportunity to learn a new skill or spend time with family or just do something productive. Like I read an article on Forbes or something like that, as Forbes or Fortune, and it basically said there's this whole idea that right now so much of society is like just watching stuff on Netflix and playing video games, and you're like, what? Like, we all say like if we had more time, we would do whatever the thing is.
They ain't doing nothing.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And so many resources for free. Now they're giving classes for free. I've seen classes for whatever you want to pay for. So you even put the price on it. You have a lot of webinars and resources to build up your business, to get a new ideas, to refine your talents, for personal development, for your health. All this stuff coming up that you can be consuming, books that you can be reading. If you don't like to read, you can do it in Audible, things to take your mind on the concentration of what I don't have, and then concentrate more on what you have and what can you do with the things that you do have right now in your hands. And the financial planning comes even when you have a little bit. Okay, now that everything comes down, what am I going to do with the little finances that are coming in, and how am I going to bring more? Instead of concentrating on so much on the lack and do nothing, and then at the end of all this, really lose everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and such a good tie-in to that comment is I say this a lot, and I'm pretty sure I say this on the episode that's going to be tomorrow, but you are your biggest asset. Like over the course of your lifetime, people always talk about investing in different things and putting money into stocks and bonds and what have you. And that's all good. And that is all very useful. But at the end of the day, you're your biggest asset. Like the most potential for earning power in the course of your investing lifetime is you. So it's kind of that idea of what you're saying, investing in a new skill, investing in yourself, putting time into yourself. That doesn't always have to be like learning something new. That could just be self-reflection and your own personal development to be in a good headspace.
Self-care.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, of course.
And I read a book from Brian Tracy called No Excuses. And it says he got a study that he did that if you invest every year 3% of your income in self-development or learning something new or doing more self-care, whatever, it's just that amount of money every year you have to spend it on yourself. That you're going to earn more money as the years go by. So he did it with this particular person, and then the next year he has spent 6%, and the next year he spent 12%. Like he keep doubling the percentage, and the more that he is spending on him, the more that he was making money.
Wow.
That's amazing. And I love, John, how you say that, and please say it as much as possible, that you're your biggest asset. And one of the things that I'm super excited about that I had on my list of things that I would like to accomplish this year, not that I really have extra time, but you make time, right? You plan. Jim Quick, I am such a huge fan of him. And for those of you who don't know, but Jim Quick, he is like the master of learning and teaching people how to learn. And his story is just incredible. I'm not going to get into that right now, but he teaches you how to learn. And one of the things that he teaches is speed reading. And I've always, from before I could learn, I knew how to read. I couldn't wait to learn how to read because I just knew books were filled with all kinds of yummy, wonderful information and stories and all that kind of stuff. So, but I've never been much of a quick reader. And so because I bought his upcoming book that's coming out, I think next month, then there was an offer of the reading program much cheaper than what normally is. I was like, okay, I gotta pounce on this sucker. And and it's a 21-day program. And already I'm halfway through, but even before that, I have tripled my reading speed. It's unbelievable. Wow. Simple little steps. And each one, the video is maybe like 5 minutes. And so in that little bit of time, boom. And there are people who, increase their reading spirit by 300%, which I can totally see before I'm done with all this. And will be. So,
can you give an example of what that would look like? Like, is it your eyes skip over certain words, or what's a way to?
Yeah. So he is really interesting because one of the reasons why I never really got into speed reading because I didn't want to miss my comprehension. I wanted to really soak it all up. And so he teaches, first he actually goes through this teaching you how to speed up. Now the second half of the program is going to be comprehension. And so little things like visual pacer. So using, your finger. And that's one of the things, I don't know about you guys, but when I was growing up, I remember we were taught not to use it once we got, because that was supposedly a sign of not being a good reader. But the thing is that then we lose our plays, our eyes, our brains are just designed that we're going to follow something that's moving for our survival. It could be lunch or we could be lunch, whichever. And so it just keeps you on track. And the other thing is to use your peripheral vision. So you actually end up going from one end of the line to the other, but, just, indentation. So those are a couple of the things. And then there are a couple of little exercises that really helps with regards to, using both sides of the brain and helping that corpus callosum part. That's the strip that goes down the middle of your brain and helps the two parts of the brain to talk with each other. So we're going to go into more of also, because he was saying how left-handed people tend to be better readers because left-handed, they're more dominated by the right side, of course, and that has to do with our emotions and feelings and taste and this, that, and the others. So they're sensing, I guess, more of the book, which is supposedly what we're going to eventually get to before the class. class. So.
Interesting.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
I know.
I
That
gotta tell you
reminds me of
though,
the commercials used to do that. Remember those? Probably like 20 years ago, those, you have these commercials.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not a speed reader.
Me neither. English is my second language, so usually I have to read things twice before I can get it.
Well,
Sometimes I
And I
have to
was
read
gonna
that
say-
definition in Spanish to make sense to me, and so.
well, and I'm a lefty, and I don't think the speed reading thing is true because I'm not a speed reader. But I am a
well,
lefty.
I don't know if you were saying that they were faster readers, but maybe just kind of more.
Maybe you have an advantage being a lefty
There you go.
because you're
Right.
I need to
thinking
to
from
tap
the
into
right
that.
side of your brain.
Yeah.
That's
So,
funny.
yeah. Well, Ida Andres is also doing the speed reading class, and so Spanish is his first language. So he's improving in it also. He's actually doing it in both languages. So yeah,
That's cool.
yeah, very cool.
I can read fast in Spanish, but not in English. I mean,
Yeah.
I speak normal, but
Yeah. Well, anyway, so this has been fun and excited to be able to introduce John Kennedy, and
You.
sad to see Jessica leave, but we have twisted her arm
Thank you.
to see us and keep in touch. And but yeah, so tune in tomorrow. John Kennedy is going to be talking about how to handle money during this time of uncertainty. So you definitely don't want to miss it.
Yes, please.
Yep. 2 p.m.
Make shit
So-
happen in your finances tomorrow. Be
That's
here.
right.
That's right. And you're going to have to use the link because it's a pre-recording. Or if you want to see us, you can go to Shannon's YouTube and see us on there.
Oh no, I didn't know you recorded it. I had my face up to the microphone like that the whole time. I'm gonna have to
Well, maybe
fix
I
that.
won't then. We'll have a little discussion about that.
Yeah.
So just click the link.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for having me, and I appreciate the
Yeah.
warm welcome. Jessica, we're gonna miss you.
Excited. I'm gonna miss you guys too, but so excited.
Yeah. And congratulations on your next endeavor, Jessica.
Thank you.
Yes. Have a lot of fun.
Thank
Yes.
Do a lot of people.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Bye,
guys.
everybody.